chick, 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 chick. Well, music is, in my estimation, a universal language. It's just something about music that everybody can communicate with on different levels. I personally like all types of music that doesn't irritate me to listen to. If I'm comfortable with it, I like it, and I've found it in all forms and fashions that there is something in all types that is likable for me in some form or fashion. People can identify with it. Back when I was about 12, 14 years old, me and a gentleman named Mac Ingram from Lawrenceburg, North Carolina, we were playing in a little old talent show up there, and he played the guitar and I just sang with him, and we were a duet, but he was the one that had the instrument, and I got conspicuous about him having an instrument and me not having one. So since my family was into music a good bit, my mother had an old Gypsy guitar, and I picked it up, and my uncle showed me some chords, and first thing you know, I was being able to play a little bit, and then me and Mac both could stand up and do a song, and both of us had an instrument to play, and that's what got me started. But of course, I remember sitting around the house with my mother and them playing and singing, and I was just a young kid singing with them and all. But as time went along, I just kept on slugging at it, picking at it. I still today play. Of course, I never did play much rock and roll or anything, but I did a little bit years ago. But mine mostly was country and bluegrass, gospel. The Atlanta Country Music Hall of Fame, I was inducted in '07, and it was such a great honor, because a lot of occasions the people are not inducted until after they pass, and fortunately I'm still living. Another friend went in at that same time, the Cloud Indian family, the Marksman Quartet, they were inducted the same time I was, and that was such an honor that I never would have, in my wildest dreams, would have felt like I would have achieved. But thanks to the society that created it, Miss Helen Burke and Johnny Carson, original founder, he and his constituents have really done a fine job. We've operated Shoal Creek Music Park for 20 years, and the Bluegrass Express is fixing to celebrate their 25th year. We enjoy it. We like it, and I've been fortunate enough that the Lord seen fit that we could stay here. It hasn't been a money-making enterprise for us, and I feel sure Bluegrass Express hadn't turned over no big bucks either. But the fact that you love it, and they got the following that loves it, and the fact that they'll come out and support you to a point to where you can stay there, that's the reason that it's existed as long as it has. At one time, I understand that a walk-on at the Grand Ole Opry was always necessary. If you could sing and had talent, you could go to Nashville and walk on the stage of the Grand Ole Opry and pick and play. And that was just how, well, that was back in the days of Loretta Lynn and Cowboy Copas, Ernest Tubb, Jimmy Rogers, and at that time, Merle Travis. If you could play and sing, then you had a place. But in today's world, you've got to have an agent, a manager, and if that agent doesn't suit to book you, then, I mean, you rely altogether on that agent. If he doesn't see fit to book you, then you don't get booked, whether it would be a good booking or not. I know some guys that's out here playing and beating the bushes, and they got bilked by their manager or their agent simply because they were going to get more money out of the act than what was appropriate, because that agency is going to get a percentage of whatever your booking is, and if they don't get what they feel like is worth their time, then you don't work. It doesn't make no difference where you wanted to go or not. Now, all of them's not that way, but fact of the business, I talked with if you'll notice in some of the agencies or some of the artists, you'll see that they have what they call in-house booking. That means you can call that artist and he'll book with you himself or herself. You name me one thing that the government's ever got involved in that didn't cost the taxpayers, and I'll buy you an ice cream. There's some of this stuff that you dabble with, subject to come back and haunt you. Well, I dreamed I was awake one night and I woke up and I was asleep. The main thing, my advice is sweep around your own back door and hope everybody's sweeping around theirs. I think we've all woke up and found out that we had a weird experience or something. Sort of like crying for a doorknob. Thought it was a biscuit. Yeah, he was, say years ago, you didn't have the paved roads or anything. Anywhere you went, you walked or rode a horse if you were fortunate enough to have a horse. And my granddaddy said he'd been somewhere or another and was coming back home, and it was late at night. He was coming down this dirt road, and just in his distance, he could see this big white thing coming at him. And he hollered for it to stop, and it didn't pay him no attention. It just stood there. So he scratched around on the side of that dirt road and found some rocks and piled them up. And then he started throwing them. And I think he hit an old cow right between the eyes. He said she went through the fence. There was an old cow in the road, and he didn't know what it was, but it scared him. So we used to go from time to time to the jockey lots, and this particular time we were over at Pickens, South Carolina. Well, as I recall, it was on a Wednesday. It was 11, maybe 12 years old. I don't know exactly. But here was a Foztex 4-channel, I believe it was, recording apparatus that would record cassette tapes. That's what it would do. It was about to cause Zeke to have a fit, crying tears as big as horse patties. And so finally, after everything's said and done, I turned around and bought the thing. And he brought it on home, and boy, he went right to work on that thing. Oh, he was in hog heaven. Now that was what started his recording stuff. He worried with that stuff, and every time he turned around, his mother was all the time placing an order for something or other else. And he can make you a CD now before a cat can turn around, and he's done, I don't know how many recordings, but his early start was that cassette recorder that we bought him at the Pickens jockey lot. And the neat thing about it, when he was 7, 8 years old, he was interested in it. And I personally bought boom boxes, because a lot of them you could record on the boom boxes. And I guess I got 15 or 20 laying around here now that I bought for that young'un when he was just a little guy, just so he has something to piddle around with and tinker with. In fact, I've got had a Technics machine that would record, and it would also copy cassettes, and had the inputs and all to hook it to a player and everything. And he commandeered that not too long after that, and as far as I know, still got it today. But that was the inspiration that fueled his need, I reckon. But he ain't looked back. He's still right at it. Turned 21 this year. on the 21st of September. Lord willing. Zeke done good to be the last one in the bunch. You can take a person out of the country, but you can't take the country out of the person. Oh boy, yeah buddy. Lord have mercy.